everyone, this is Jason here. Today I did a book called Splash of Red. The author is Jen Bryant. The illustrator is Melissa Sweat. The publisher is Alfred M. Knopf. The date is 2013. It's a biography, about 31 pages, and it's for 5 to 8 year olds. This story is a biography about a man named Horace Pippin. It talks about his life's trials and tribulations and how he became famous. Horace was born in 1888 in Westchester, Pennsylvania. He was later moved to New York at the age of 3. He was always very large for his size, and by the time he was 3, he was already forced to do chores around the house and lift bigger stuff because he was just a bigger kid. Once he was 3, he could, after his chores were done at the end of the night, to kill time, he would take a paper and some coal, and he would draw pictures with coal from the age of 3 years old. When he got to school, when he got to grammar school, he was a great drawer by comparison to the other kids, and other kids were still always asking him, "Horace, draw pictures of us, draw pictures for us." Finally, one day he was in town and he saw a advertisement for a art contest, and if you won, you'd get some stuff sent to you from the art company. Well, Horace entered the contest. He drew the picture they asked, and he would win the art contest, and he got a package with colored pencils, paint brushes, and boxes of paint. So for the first time, he was able to paint in color. Now, up to this point in his life, everything he'd done had to be black and white with either a pencil or a piece of coal. Unfortunately, Horace's father had left him when he was in the 8th grade, so he kind of had to quit drawing for a while. He quit school, quit drawing, went to work to try to help his family, and then a few years down the road, World War I broke out, and Horace would join the army. While in the army, he was sent to Germany to help fight the Germans, and he was shot in his right arm. He could barely use his right arm anymore, which was his drawing arm, and he had trouble getting a job after the war due to his injuries. People didn't want to hire him. And so one night, Horace was sitting around the fire, and he got an idea to maybe put the pen or put something in his right hand, and he would use his left hand to guide the pen or pencil or whatever was in his hand and start drawing that way by holding his right arm with his left arm to kind of help. So the first picture he drew this way, it took him 3 years to complete that picture. With practice, his hand grew steadier, and he would draw late into the night every night. Eventually, he got to where he could hang his paintings in front of a few businesses and stuff like that. Well, still no one was purchasing any of his paintings, and then finally the president of a local art club saw some of his paintings and was pretty amazed. Well, luckily this president of the art club had a friend named N.C. Wyeth, who was already a really famous painter, and contacted Mr. Wyeth about the paintings. And when Mr. Wyeth came to town, he was also impressed with the paintings. So the president of the art club and N.C. Wyeth decided to join forces, and they told Horace he should have a showing. So they helped get Horace a showing set up for his own paintings and kind of published it where he could start selling his paintings. With the help from his new friends, he had people coming from all over to see his work. Photographers were coming in to take pictures of it. Newspapers were coming in. And it had been more than 40 years since Horace had won the art supplies from the art contest till now that everyone knew him. He'd been drawing for really 40 plus years because he won the art contest when he was 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. It doesn't really say, but so really he was probably in his mid to upper 50s before he became famous as a painter. His paintings were displayed all over the country. One of his paintings is actually right here in Wichita, Kansas at the art museum here. So if you want to look him up, you can see him, Horace Pippin's actual work. But nowadays, like I say, he's in art museums all over the country now. Very, very popular. Every illustration in the book has one thing in common. They all have a splash of red in them, hence the name of the book. I guess Horace tends to like a little bit of red in all of his paintings. It's one of the things he was known for. The children will learn a lot from this book. It's a good book for kids because it talks about and shows how a real person has hard times and how they can overcome them. Horace could have easily, given up on his dreams many times, and no one would have blamed him for it. I mean, when he was 8 and he had to quit drawing because his dad left and he had to go to work, 8th grade, and he had to quit drawing and go to work for his dad, or when his arm was shot in the war and he could no longer use his arm. But he just kept doing his thing and kept at it no matter how hard it was, and eventually he made it over the hump and became famous. And so I'll read a little excerpt from the book here. At night, his old home in Goshen, his grandfather's slave days, and the Bible stories she had told him about pictures in his mind. He longed to draw them too, but how? His right arm was weak and too painful to lift. The iron poker stood by the fire, straight and tall as a soldier. Could he? With his left hand, he grasped his right wrist. He thrust the poker into the flames until it grew red hot. Using his good arm to move his hurt one, he scorched lines into wood and made a picture. Make a picture for us, Horace, the neighbor said, and he did. With practice, his arm grew stronger, his hand steadier. Maybe now, he told Jenny, I can try painting. There's no money for art supplies, so Horace used an old brush and leftover house paint he found in alleys for canvas. For canvas, he used a clean piece of cloth. Every day, late into the night, Horace worked on his painting. He used gray, black, and white, and somber colors of war. Here and there, he added a splash of red. And then you can kind of see right here, you'll see they're kind of small in the book, but these are just different paintings that Horace had done. And for this article, what I did was we just did a little character traits here so that kids can kind of evaluate evidence from the text on 4 different character traits for Horace and learn that way.